In many of my conversations with people about my channel, about my blogging, you encounter all sorts of people, all different people that, will contact you, come into your life. And, during many conversations, people reveal very personal things about their lives, their depression, suicide attempts, self-harm, addictions, and God knows what. And so you get to see the very human side of somebody who's suffering. And it became very clear to me there's one type of person that I will never be able to evangelize, is a dead person. Can't evangelize somebody who's taken their lives. But you can help somebody who's going through pain for whatever reason. You can be there, you can listen to them. You don't have to judge them. You can just listen to them. Okay, you're going through this. This is the situation in your life. How can I help you? And you keep listening and you keep listening. And it might take a month, a year, or one or so on, but you keep listening without judging, without condemning them, without making them feel worse. So that after they listen to you, they don't come away from your conversation feeling like you're, they're trying to destroy your life. You have to help. We have to listen. We have to be able as a church, as Catholics, to listen. I know when I go before Christ, Christ is not going to tell me, oh, why didn't you judge more, Robert? Why didn't you make that person feel worse? Why didn't you condemn them? Why didn't you do something? Sometimes, where's my catechism? Sometimes some Catholics think when you encounter some specific people, a gay person, for example, the solution sometimes for them is to shove this in their faith. Now, when you're living this, come back and we'll get you into a prayer group and we'll do something. I don't know. I don't know if that's the way forward. I suppose I think it's a very different area in the church. It's been grappling it for many years. But if you don't talk about what's impacting you in your life, how are you going to, journey in this in towards heaven? Saying to some people, no, you can't talk about this, can't have a conversation about this. And some people so close-minded, unless you fit our perception of what it is to be a Catholic in the church and you tick all the boxes and you've signed up for everything in this, you can't come in, we can't talk to you. I'm not here, waving a flag or asking for the church to change its teachings or anything like that. I'm asking for the church, for Catholics to have humanity, to have the heart of Christ, to be able to listen to people. That's all. That's all I need to do, to be able to listen to people and to give them space to know Christ better. You can't change the world, but you can change yourself. You can change your own heart. You can make your own heart like Christ. The only person I can convert is myself. My own heart. Can't convert anybody else. And I can only go and give that beautiful message of Christ to others with my conversion, with my metanoia. That's my thoughts on the matter. So when people come into my life, unexpected, you meet somebody in a restaurant and, and you have a conversation and, they tell you about their, encourage them. If people forget, St. Augustine, he was 10 years in Manichaeism. He was lost before that. It took him how many years to slowly become a saint? Through errors. There was years he believed in different errors that weren't in Catholic, that weren't in Christian. And yet, with support and help, he slowly found the truth. And we have his legacy in the church to lead us, to help us. And today is the same thing. People could be living in an error. They could be doing things differently. How can we help? We have to be there to listen and not judge them. We change our lives. And then we stand as examples on how to help them know and love Christ more. But if we're going to go, and as soon as we encounter somebody with a problem that, oh, no, sorry, did you read the catechism? Do you know what the teaching of the Catholic Church is and this, that and the other? Maybe they didn't ask that, or maybe they know it extremely well. What we need to do first is listen. Listen to them. Listen to their problems, listen to their depressions, listen to their suicide attempts, listen to their issues with addictions, listen to their suffering for so many years, their rejections and so forth. And then we start helping. We start praying. Prayer is the greatest proof of God's existence, and you have to be able to open souls to prayer, and it takes time. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes love, it takes being there. We have to allow that space for people to be vulnerable and allow them to talk. It's so many times, and I've been to funerals like this so many times, you go to a funeral of somebody who's taken their life, and people say, we didn't know about this, we didn't know what was going on, and he seemed happy the day before, and the tragedy. We can't evangelize people that have taken their lives. We can only evangelize and bring Christ's light into those who are living today and those we touch today. And we have to do this with incredible we have to be careful how we help people. As Christians, people who encounter me, and this is it's a challenge for everyone, but if somebody encounters me, I have to try as much as possible to make them feel, to open them to Christ's presence better after they know me. Or are they going to encounter Robert Nugent and then find out, what a prick he was? Because when you're younger, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you do stupid things. You say stupid things. We don't think. We don't think about things. We don't think how our words impact other people. How we talk impacts other people. We have to think, how do I impact the other person when I encounter them? Maybe I'm very simplistic on this, but I fundamentally believe it's all Christ who transforms. It's only Christ that transforms. And if we opened more souls to Christ's grace, to his presence, if you put somebody in front of Christ in the Eucharist, he will slowly transform people. He just does. Don't ask me why and how. You put somebody in front of Christ, you give them the gospel, the good news, the New Testament, and he slowly transforms. He just does this. And we have to be able to open that door to souls. I can't help a dead man. I can only help those who are living. I can pray for the dead. And there's so many people living in depressions and suicide and addictions and so on and so forth. And we need to be there as brothers to help. I will not get to heaven by, isolating me in my perfect world, in my perfect group. And, I turn up to heaven with my priority boarding pass. Oh, look, I've done everything. Here's my priority boarding pass. And Christ might say, actually, the guy at the end of the line there, that guy that you insulted and you demeaned and you made him depressed, that guy that passes for that guy back there. You better get back to the back of the line, Robert, because you didn't do anything. You didn't help. You didn't encourage. You didn't listen. You judged. You drove people into further depressions. It's only as I get older I realize that, this mission isn't easy. Evangelization isn't easy. It isn't easy. We don't get it right all the time. And we hurt people sometimes by our words and our actions. And it's by that examination of conscience that we have our own conversion first, our own metanoia. We draw near to Christ. And then Christ asks us to go to those who need him, that are living in darkness and pain and suicide and depressions and all this, self-harm. Go to them, shine a light. Bring them into prayer. Bring them into Christ's presence. The fundamental bedrock of evangelization is to bring people to Christ. That's it. To make them disciples of him, not of ourselves, not of our own ideas, our own thoughts and our own processes. We're not Christ. He is. Bring people to him. Introduce people to him in the Eucharist. Open the doors of prayer to him. So this is my message to Catholics around Ireland. It's a very confusing time in the church. There's lots going on. We're not here defending ideologies. We're talking about real people and the need to be careful in how we help, to listen and not judge. And it can be difficult sometimes. It can be very, very difficult sometimes. I can tell you, it can be difficult. But we have to be agents of Christ to be able to help, support. Maybe they don't get it all right. I know I didn't get it all right, years ago. I still don't get it all right. Still struggling. Still, challenging myself. Still looking. But I suppose I know the Christ I met. And the Christ I met is a Christ who wants to transform people, bring joy. He wants to bring his spirit into their life. He wants to, get rid of that darkness, that depression, to bring you into the light. That's Christ. So my message to those, who maybe have the moral high ground in certain issues, okay, that's fine. But I know what Christ is asking me to help, and to listen, to journey, to support, to bring his teaching, to bring his love into their lives, and to point them to Christ, to him. It's not about me. It's not my message. Not anything about me. If Christ has loved me, it's not just, oh, I'm special now. And no, I've given you something. Christ gives us something, and he asks us to help others, to sit down, bring them out for a meal, listen to them, and listen and listen and listen and keep listening. And keep bringing them to adoration, to keep bringing them to prayer. If we did this as a church, we would have hundreds of less suicides in Ireland if we took on the challenge to evangelize. Because it's not just the suicide, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of people living in depression, in suicide and addictions in Ireland. Thousands. Living in darkness in Ireland. And when somebody's living in darkness, you cannot go in there and start judging them and shoving them further back into their hell. You have to bring them out. You have to listen. You have to help. Evangelization isn't easy. Evangelization, which is giving a good news. Christ died on the cross. He rose. And when he rose, after his resurrection, he said, I ascend to my Father and your Father. And that's the greatest message of the good news. We are children of his Father. I don't think people have meditated on this. Do you not realize this? We are children of his Father. We will not get to heaven by leaving our baptized brothers and sisters behind that don't get it right, that maybe are, confused and that are journeying or a different stage of their spiritual development, because nobody comes a saint in a day. It can take years, decades, a lifetime. Think about it. And how we blog and how we write about other people impacts them. And we have to give encouragement. That doesn't mean affirmation. That means encouragement. That they're beloved sons of God and that they're on a journey with us. Open them to prayer. They'll find the truth if we're authentic. If I'm authentic, if I'm living an authentic life of grace, of friendship with Christ, and I'm not interested in anything from anybody else. I'm just interested in them knowing Christ. They'll find the truth. We'll bring them to the truth. They'll see it for themselves. They'll be convicted of themselves. Christ will transform. Let him do his job and let him work with souls. But we cannot be agents of the darkness, of further bringing darkness into people's lives. How I treat them shoves them further into darkness. Whatever you're going through, there's always light out of your problem. There's always light. That's my conviction. I speak to anybody and I'll encourage anybody because I know at the end of my life, I will not get to heaven by ignoring certain people and saying, no, that person, he's the devil incarnate, and I'm keeping well away from that type of person or that type of people. You have to encourage, you have to help those who God puts in your life. And that's the simple fact. We can follow this. And I'm not, as I said at the start of the video, I defend all the teachings of the Catholic Church. How do you open these truths, the path, the ascent to heaven? How do we open this? We open it by us first incarnating this in our own lives, and then people will follow and encounter that same message. Can transform people. You just cannot say to them, now you go off and get transformed, you can get changed, and then come back and we'll start praying with you. You pray with them today. You help them today, and you walk with them today. Or maybe I'm naive. I don't know. I don't know any other way. I don't know of this magic bullet of evangelization in the Catholic Church. And there, in 2,000 years, there hasn't been. The only people that transform the church are saints. And to be one isn't easy. Because sometimes you don't have all the answers. You have to ask the Holy Spirit for help. How can I help this person? How can I make them feel better today? How can I show them that they are sons and daughters of my Father in heaven? How can we do this? If people really thought about this, we would transform our society. Because when you don't have God in your life, everything else will fail you. It just does. So we need to be agents of hope. That's my thoughts on this. And I'm very passionate about this. But there doesn't exist a type of a person I won't talk to and help. Because I can't evangelize a dead man. I can only help those who are living and to open their lives to Christ's grace and light. That's the only thing we can do. So pray for the church. You know, confusing times, but a challenging time as well. It's a challenge to us. Who doesn't want a challenge? You know, we have to look at ourselves. What can I do better? How can I do things better? How can I better embody Christ and the teachings of the church? It's up to me. If we all did our own examination of conscience, if we all lived Christ's message better, we would really be evangelization. We would really do evangelization a lot better. So anyway, just my thoughts. And I hope they help people. But as I said, you can't evangelize a dead man or a dead woman. You can only evangelize those who are living. And every opportunity we have has to be an opportunity to bring Christ into their lives. And it mightn't happen immediately. It might take years. But it will. Let Christ work. That's the whole mission. To bring people to Christ, to put him in his light. You know, if people understood he's actually living in our church, he's actually there in the midst of us right now in our church. He's actually there. I think so many people think Christ is an idea and they forget he's a person living, acting, talking. He's present in our church. He's as alive today in our church as he was 2,000 years ago. People forget this. He is as alive today as he was 2,000 years ago. So let him bring people to him. Let people start having a conversation with him, and he'll help, he'll heal. His Holy Spirit will come into their lives, and the healing starts, and he unites, and he transforms. You know, so just my thoughts. God bless you. Pray for the church, and listen to people, help them. God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.